Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News Bulletin 8, read to you by myself, Natile Sitole, alongside Zamanzi Manzi. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories. Majesty the Third has urged regiments to be rooted in respect and to spread the COVID-19 message across communities. Inkosikati Magelangangaza has disclosed that Eswatini Hospice at Home provided palliative care to over 1,000 beneficiaries in the 2019-2020 financial year. The U.S. government has presented $10.5 million worth of life-saving assistance to the Ministry of Health. And now the news in detail. His Majesty King the Third has urged regiments to be rooted in respect and to spread the COVID-19 message across communities. His Majesty was speaking through Indvuna Komendanyan Makakula at Butleni Ra residence when he dispersed regiments from the whole region following the completion of harvesting of royal fields in the whole region.
The zeal and the energy amongst Lakobetelago was still high after the harvesting of the royal fields in the Hoho region. In Gwenyama, His Majesty King Eswatini the Third dispensing the regiments through Indvuna Komendanya Makakula at Butleni Royal Residence said, respect is an anchor and lifestyle of Emaswati.
Inhlonipho majaha ngiyolemqoka. Kuhlonipha ulalele uve. Kuthi kuthiwani kangwane.
In Gwenyama, His Majesty King Eswatini III also said the regiments must continue to be exemplary to the nation by teaching and keeping all COVID-19 regulations.
Majaha uqina umthetho weCovid njengoba kunje nibona sengaka. Inkinga yalomkhuhlane. Ngakho ke majaha kuhle kwedumseka. Emandlaleni wafakile nekuvula nigcine umthetho wetempilo. Ngakho majaha bujaha lijaha ngekuphila ngekulandzela kuhlonipha umthetho wetempilo njengoba lo mkhuhlane uvimbetele live kangaka. Ingwenyama inika licembe majaha. Namuhla majaha ingwenyama infisela indlela lenhle iyanqitsa infisela indlela lenhle kuthi nemakhaya la niyakhona nambe kahle endleleni nemakhaya tifike tinyango tigqwale tiphuphume njengoba livele nje iCovid istayehlula nasidlako silandzela umthetho wetempilo majaha.
On the news tonight, I'm Xolis Mavimbela with Themba Mamba, Butleni, Hoho region.
Inkosikati Magelangangaza has disclosed that Eswatini Hospice at Home provided palliative care to over 1,000 beneficiaries in the 2019-2020 financial year. 40% of those who received help from the organization were young children. Inkosikati, who is patron of the organization, was speaking when she received a donation from the Methodist Women Manyano at the headquarters of the organization in Matsapa. Inkosikati was represented by Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe.
Like most non-profit making organizations, Eswatini Hospice at Home has been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, yet the organization faces the noble task of serving people with terminal illnesses. But with generous support from partners like Methodist Women Manyano, the organization can look into the future with a sense of optimism. Partnership between Eswatini Hospice at Home and the Methodist Women Manyano seems to be growing as it has stood firm for 6 years. This year's donation was presented by the president of Methodist Women Manyano in Eswatini, Nokuthula Dlamini, to the patron Inkosikazi Magelangangaza, who was represented by Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe.
Sihlusha ngemavi lalapha ku Matthew 25. Lapho khona khuluma kahle Jesu. Bengilambile. Awuzange ubonakale. Bengingqunu. Awungembathisanga. Bengilambile. Awuzange ngiphe kudla. Bese ke sokuthi lo mbuto bekukunini lapho Nkosi. Liphendulele live lithi lokho lokwende kulabancinyane ukwente kimi liqobo. Sihlusha nje ngilawo mavi mfana Nkosi ngathi sigijima sibuki noma kune COVID noma kungena COVID sithi lo msebenzi siyatibophelela kuwenta. Ngoba la mavi lawa sitawubuta embili lapho siya khona ngoba asipheleli la. Sisaqhubekela embili lapho sawubuta khona. Sizama ke kwenta lo msebenzi kokuthi noma ngabe kubita kokuthi ngingadli mina ekhaya siphume nalabo make sitowenda lo msebenzi wase Hospice at Home.
Inkosikazi Magelangangaza paid glowing tribute to the Methodist Women Manyano for the selfless devotion to Eswatini Hospice at Home. Inkosikazi disclosed that the organization has served over 1,000 people over the course of the 2019-2020 financial year, and that 40% of those are young children.
Sing Eswatini ke Hospice siyawuhlala sinenhlitiyo lemnanzi ngabomake belimanyana. Ngale sipho lesihlele bahlale basiniketa sona kule minyaka lesithupha lendlulile solo nje bayachubeka bomake belimanyano bayanikela ka Hospice. Phinde futhi ningivumele ukuthi ngibonge i-leadership ye-Methodist Church ukuthi bavumelela bomake ukuthi bachubeke bende lo msebenzi weluvelo lolungaka. Ngale minikelo ke lesinikelelwa yona siletha tinsita letiphelele tinsita letivele tenda lokukhulu lokunyendi diphinde futhi tivale tikhebesi lapho khona lishoda khona ibudget yala ka Hospice njoba vele ibudget yakhona ingasiyo lenkulu kakhulu. Sicubuloke salonyaka siyasho ukuthi leave no one behind, equity in access to palliative care. Lo shoko ukuthi asingashiyi umuntu emuva kepha lusito alunikedwe wonke umuntu. Nakuphela March 21 Eswatini Hospice seyifike kubamfu labanganga 1,500 lebasitakele loku 40% wakhona bantwana labancane. Siyambonga ke uhulumende wembube, uhulumende wengwenyama yelive kanye nabo bonke bemadona nabo bonke labasisekelako ukuthi kuchubeke kulethwe lusito, kuchubeke kulethwe kusekelwa kulabamfu labadinga lusito.
The Minister of Health, Liz Nkosi, made use of the event to warn the nation about the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kuda singene ngekhasi mbamba ngoba phela majuda athunywa divaleleni ngekhasi aqali lokudivalela. Sesibiyela lapho ke ngoba nantibuka nje inombolo tethu tayitolo. Usikhambe babili bantu kusanda ikhambe emunye. Inombolo tethu setila kuma digits lamabili. Tisukile lekubo 0 labo infection. Lokuthi sikhulume nesiveli ilanga nelanga sendela kona ukuthi sibuke kanye ukuthi hey lapha sekunjani sekunema warning sekune red flag lenkulu manje lapha siya khona kulesihombe sesithathu siyalungisela silitiko silungisa nesive ngoba kubalekile ukuthi sive sihambe kanye kanye sibambisane kanye kanye kodwa kubalekile ukuthi simaSwati sivikele ngaleti ndlela letatiwa kodwa emhlaba wonke.
Other speakers were the regional administrator for the Manzini region, Chief Gicha, who said the organization should be expanded in a way that it could have fully fledged resident medical teams and pastors who could provide spiritual counseling. The chairman of the board of directors, Arnold Lamini, revealed sponsors who continue to support Eswatini Hospice at Home, and he further revealed the future plans of the organization. Companies, institutions and individuals have been encouraged to support Eswatini Hospice at Home and to partner with the organization in some of its initiatives, which include the knitting challenge, which is currently in progress. This is Sandile Makanya reporting for Eswatini TV News with Zweli Masugu in Matapa.
The U.S. government has presented life-saving assistance to the Ministry of Health worth 10.5 million emalangeni. U.S. Ambassador Jean Maloney says her country has already supported the Kingdom of Eswatini with assistance worth over 142.4 million emalangeni for COVID-19 relief. Minister of Health Lizingosi says the assistance came at the right time where the kingdom is bracing itself for the COVID-19 third wave.
This life-saving assistance includes the training of health workers in management of COVID-19 cases, medical oxygen storage, provision of oxygen concentrators, rebreather treatment masks, and personal protective equipment. Minister of Health Lizinkosi says this assistance could not have come at a better time as the kingdom is preparing for the COVID-19 third wave. Nkosi says they will give this equipment to all health facilities.
One key limitation that we experienced in the second wave was the availability of oxygen supplies, as the whole Southern Africa region was experiencing a similar wave. I'm happy to share that as a country, we have expanded oxygen supply by installing bulk liquid oxygen tank at Lubombo and another plant, and an oxygen generation plant at the Luke Commission. There are plans to even expand bulk oxygen and oxygen generation capacity to health facilities in the Hoho and Shiselweni region. Your Excellency, allow me to highlight my appreciation and excitement of receiving these auxiliary masks as displayed over there that we are receiving today. These have come at the right time, as they have the potential to reduce oxygen consumption and unnecessary wastage, which will ensure that more oxygen reaches those who need it most.
U.S. Ambassador Jean Maloney says the assistance is worth over 10.5 million emalangeni. Maloney says this brings the total U.S. support to Eswatini for COVID-19 relief to 142.4 million emalangeni.
Of note are the Oxera specialized masks that are part of this donation. We're proud to be the first to bring this South African COVID-specific innovation to Eswatini. These masks are a game changer in the fight against COVID-19. This equipment bridges the gap between current standard oxygen therapy and intensive care-based ventilation while requiring no more oxygen flow than a standard face mask.
Maloney says her country will continue to stand with the Kingdom of Eswatini as it has done so in the past. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Ezulwini.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, has officially launched the Lubombo Man and Biosphere Reserve. The launch took place at Makatsavana on Thursday.
The Minister of Tourism and Environment, Moses Vilagati, has officially launched a building for Man and Biosphere Reserve at Makatsavane. The minister further mentioned that Eswatini is now one of 120 countries globally that has a Man and Biosphere Reserve where the public is able to gather and discuss environmental matters.
When we look at the Man and Biosphere program, it becomes an intergovernmental science program which proposes an interdisciplinary research and capacity building agenda which is aimed at improving the relationship of people with their environment globally. It focuses on the creation and the maintenance of man and biosphere reserves. The Man and Biosphere program is an umbrella for conservation and research in education. It is integrated with all the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Lubombo Regional Administrator Themba Msibi says they are grateful for the building because it brings development in terms of providing information concerning nature. Msibi says this place will bring harmony between mankind and nature.
Kungabi nje ukuthi imvelo noma ke leto tinyamatane kufuna ukuthi tihlatshwe bese tiyadliwa. Kodwa bathi nje ukuthi buhle belive ukuthi bantu nabo babe nale discipline ukuthi letilwane atisito tekuhlatshwa nje tidliwe. Kodwa ngetulu kwaloko tiyakhangisa. Bantu basuke emaveni abo batobona ukuthi
Msibi also mentioned that he wishes such buildings may be added in the country. Some of the Lubombo region chiefs, Member of Parliament for Kongolweni constituency, and the chairman of Tourism Board in Africa were part of the Man and Biosphere building opening. Reporting is Tembelihle Makuchwa with Themba Shabangu and Vumkosi Nzinisa, Makatsavane.
Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza says Gilgal farmers have made about 500,000 emalangeni through an auction that was held at the Madanga Deep Tank, where a number of livestock was sold. Mabuza says his ministry encourages farmers to work together in auctioning livestock at constituency level. He says this increases chances of farmers selling their livestock at better prices.
Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza says farmers should collaborate in their constituencies and auction their livestock. Mabuza says this will increase their chances of selling at a better price than they would individually.
Lenzaba yema auction sale akabe khona lonke live tonke tinkundla ngoba siwabone alusido ayasida ukuthi kulaba laba bafuyi bakhona ukuthola imali letingathi tiyabonakala ichubeke kahle kakhulu ke le auction sale I average price nje engomeni inye ubonakele ukuthi cishe ungathi inkomo yinye beyithengwa ngemali lecishe isonzele ku9000 into lengeke ivame kwendeka na utithengisela ungumfuyi uwethwana kusithokotisile ke ukubona lokho kuchubeka bayakhile nje imali lecishe isonzele ku500,000.
The minister said this at the Maganga Deep Tank during a livestock auction where Member of Parliament Sandla Fagutse said they needed more earth dams in their constituency.
Sinenkinga lenkulu kulendzawo lena seGilgal ngenzaba imandi lawetinkele tikhona letincane lebesakhele tona setidzabukile ukuthi lungisa kolukhuni njengoba bashilo nje babethwala la bafana bakommunist bafikile bayotibona letiyetatu basethembisa batawubuya basilungisele ejaso labakabuya.
Farmers say there is a need for more livestock auction sites.
La ekuthenini tinkomo takhona tikhuluphele ngalendlela mangasapho kodwa lamayadi minister lesingakusho njengabathengi ukuthi mancane kule live la kakhona amancane nje sicelo sebathengi ukuthi masingakwazisa kuze kuthi emaswati alokhona kusitakala mhlambe etindzaweni tonke minister
sidividend eluleko ukuthi inkomo asisitho nje ukuthi ifuyela ukuthi inombolo ibe inkulu yini asithengise inkomo ibusiness le sithengise inkomo tisenevalue kahle.
The minister says there have been 3 livestock auctions this year and adds that a sum of over 1.5 million emalangeni was made. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela. Pictures were sourced from the Ministry of Agriculture.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has officially handed over the Lunzi Youth Farmers Tunnel project to 20 young entrepreneurs. The minister says it is encouraging to learn that the project has produced a good cycle and they have made themselves 37,160 emalangeni.
As part of its corporate social responsibility, MTN Eswatini annually launches its 21 Days of Yellow Care to do charitable work in various communities. In 2020, the program was done differently due to COVID-19. Hence, the decision to undertake a small project at Lunzi to grow baby vegetables under high tunnels. This project cost 1.2 million Amalangeni, and it benefits the youth as they were equipped to produce baby vegetables. MTN Eswatini collaborated with Namport and Eswatini Empowerment Limited in this project. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says it is encouraging to learn that the project has produced a fairly good first cycle of tomato crops.
Itolo nakuthandi besathi nje ukuthi siyalima bese sicela umdali ukuthi asiphethe imvula sitithole kulesinye isikhathi njalo tingatholakali ngaleso sikhathi lesilime ngaso bese umkhiqido wethu uya-affecteka. Kepha abantu labasha baselunzi bathi cha thina sifuna kusebenza sale sisebenza sifaka naleli giya lalobuchwephesha losebukhona namuhla kuyo le sector ka-agriculture kuyenda ibe ngcono ibonakale isezingeni leliseduru.
MTN Eswatini CEO Wandile Mchali says he is convinced that this is the road to a great future for farming and the whole value chain which the country aspires to perfect, especially in the fresh produce space. He thanks the youth who are the owners of the project for their commitment.
Abantu abasha baselunzi will then become a model across the kingdom of Eswatini. With the next projects partnerisha going forward. Sitawuthatha bona bayofundisa etigodini letinye ukuthi umsebenzi wenziwa njani. So we really
Sipho Mngomezulu spoke on behalf of Mhlambanyati Member of Parliament, urged the youth to take full advantage of having the Namport pack house in close proximity because they have an opportunity to venture into pre-packing space and sell to the local market. Chief Mangibane Dlamini has thanked both companies MTN and Eswatini Empowerment Limited for this kind gesture and has encouraged the youth to work with determination. This project aligns with Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which emphasizes on ending hunger and achieving food security. Reporting in Mlungilele Makakula with Mbonga Dube in Lunzi.
Eswatini government has officially launched state business relations with businesses and small businesses. This was said by Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade Mangoba Khumalo at the Hilton Garden Inn on Wednesday. He says he is committed to remove all hindrances that may limit the nation to start their own businesses in the country.
The government of Eswatini, in collaboration with the European Union, has started a program to remove all obligations hindering the progress and success of businesses in Eswatini. The government says the aim is to deal with factors contributing to the failure of these businesses. This was said by Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade during their workshop.
Indzaba vele lethatha ukuthi sibambisane sonke ngoba le state business relations lesisiqala lamhla vele salo ukuthi lama bottlenecks njengoba wabeka nje siwabeke ebaleni kube wonke mvabone ukuthi lokhu kuyasibambelela lokhu kuyasithumata kusenta ukuthi singakhuthali bese ke siyakusebenza ngakunye uhulumende utimisele kakhulu kungako nje nathi sila ngoba siyabona lokho ukuthi uma singakwendi lokho kutawusibambelela lokukhulu kakhulu ukuthi lokunengi kwakhona ukhanza ukuthi kushicelelwe emthethweni kunemthetho lothi lokho akwenteke kanje kunemthetho lothi lokho akuthathe emalanga lamangaka kunemthetho lothi lokho akujike ebandleni nje ukhaze ukuthi ke loyo mthetho mhlawumbe sowedlulela isikhathi uhulumende ke utimisele ukuthi asebenzisana netisha yamthetho deliver vele sikubuke lokho ukuthi leyo mithetho leyo sishesha njani ukuthi siyigucule.
Open Ambassador Esmeralda Hernandez Aragones says that Eswatini is also one of the countries under the private sector development and business environment, and also added that Eswatini has 2 state agreements with the sector.
Center.
It's the starting of a process that will put the private and the public sector together.
Herman Manson, who is the senior officer of International Trade Center, also tries to put emphasis that the government needs to build a positive relationship with these businesses.
Everything that is required for this initiative to work, for this private-public collaboration to work, is already here. Today in this meeting room, we have seen very strong commitment expressed by the government in his highest level representatives and by the private sector.
With regards to the Business Environment Program, the European Union has also donated about 180 million emalangini. Reporting to you is Alwanda Mota in Babane.
3 government ministries have officially launched the Antimicrobial Resistance Strategic Plan and its implementation plan. The event was held at the Happy Valley Hotel in Eswatini.
The 3 government ministries that launched the Antimicrobial Resistance Strategic Plan are the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture. The launch was attended by the 3 ministries' principal secretaries. The principal secretary in the Ministry of Health was represented by Health Services Director, Dr. Vusma Kakula.
The activities and the actions that of the implementation plan are extremely important. Once we have translated it to the actions, because they are now measurable, you will know that this is the action, this is what it's supposed to do. And then anybody else who look at this, and even during the midterm evaluation, as Wabisabat said, it will now be easy that this is the action you're supposed to do. And we'll tick, no, we failed to do this one, or we managed to do this one. So translation of this implementation plan into actions, which will now be known that the actions are X, Y, and Z.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, Tokas Dlamini, speaking through Qebil Nhlabat, says if antimicrobial resistance are not used correct, they can be harmful to the environment.
This awareness campaign was an eye-opener to us as a ministry on the crucial need to stop the spread of antimicrobial resistant organisms, since the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, in its endeavor, is mandated to provide potable water to our citizens and watering our livestock.
The Minister of Agriculture Principal Secretary Bongan Masuku was represented by Director Veterinary Dr. Qolan Dlamini, who says human beings and animals share similar sicknesses.
If left unattended to, the antimicrobial resistance threat will be such that 1. Infections will no longer be treatable in animals, resulting in compromised production capacity and animal welfare, and also the animal products may not be suitable for human consumption. There will also be increased risk of human contracting zoonotic resistant pathogens from animals.
The launch of the AMRC strategic plan will result in a setting up of a One Health policy. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Ezulwini.
Right about now, let's have a look at our financial report. Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Eswatini TV Public Relations Officer Nompumelelo Dlamini says, if you are physically fit, you definitely perform better at work. Dlamini was speaking when the Eswatini TV staff joined the world in celebrating Wellness Day in Babane.
This week, the world is celebrating the Global Wellness Day, a day which was first celebrated in 2012. Eswatini TV also joined in this year in celebrating the day where the public relations officer, Nompumelelo Dlamini, says physically fit employees tend to perform better at work.
We celebrate what we know as Wellness Day. Lokusho ukuthi kukhuthazwa umhlaba wonke jikelele ukuthi nguloyo naloyo akaphile impilo. Lapho khona atawuphila impilo yekutishugumisa umtimba adle nakahle. Wellness has everything to do with bungwe bakho. You're able to perform better even emsebentini if utawuba ngumuntu oshukumisa umtimba. Uyati ukuthi it is not just about weight loss, but it's also about keeping fit and exercising your lungs, especially kulamalanga lapho khona sizama ukugwema umkhuhlane we-COVID-19. Most survivors have survived solely because they are fit and they are used to using their lungs.
Tabitha Mthetho, who is a physical trainer, says it is important to invest in your body first.
Umtimba womuntu ufuna ahlale angilophilile kuze abe ngilophilile ke umtimba ufuna ukuthi uhlukubede ushokume uvuke kucala ku-investor kucala emtimbeni wakho ngoba singakuthathela phasi lo ukuthi umtimba wakho ufuna ukhone kuwetfala wazi wakhona nje kuwetfala tonke izinto utawutekhona.
Mthetho says physically fit body also makes it easy for one to make sound decisions and encouraged people to use every space to train. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizwe Msibi with Linda Dlamini, Mbabane.
Mbabane Swallows has announced the return of Felix Badenhorst, who joins the team after being released by TS Galaxy from South Africa. Mbabane Swallows confirmed the news on their social media platforms, where they described him as a player who is going to add value to the team. According to the rules, he will not be able to register for his new team for the current season. That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a relook at our top stories. Majesty the Third has urged regiments to be rooted in respect and to spread the COVID-19 message across communities. Inkosikazi Magelangangaza has disclosed that Eswatini Hospice at Home provided palliative care to over 1,000 beneficiaries in the 2019-2020 financial year. The U.S. government has presented $10.5 million worth of life-saving assistance to the Ministry of Health. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Many thanks for watching. Good night.